everyone. I am so excited for our guest today. We have Abigail with us today, and Abigail is somebody I have watched from the sidelines, and she's one who's very resonant soul. So I am very happy to welcome her into our space, and I'm going to allow her to introduce herself in the way that she desires to be known, so that she can share with you all of the goodies that she has to offer. So welcome, Abigail.
Oh, thank you for inviting me to be here to have this beautiful conversation. I'm really excited and curious about what's going to come through. Like, I'm
Yes.
really excited about it, but I know either way it's going to be really good. I was
Yes.
giggling at when you said you've been watching me from the sideline. I was like, what sideline? You've been right there,
Right.
not a sideline. But yeah, I know we connected on the light language summit, and I remember
Yeah.
just looking at all my sisters there, and I was like, "Oh, look at this!" And I was just so moved. I was so moved about your teaching, your light language. It dropped. Like I'm the way I am and my gift. I it's almost like I'm drawn to only the truth, if that makes
Mm.
sense.
Yeah.
If something is not in alignment with the divine, it's just like
Yeah.
can't even like I can't feel it. I can't, and it was just like, oh my God, there it is. Like, goosebumps and just really being there. I mean, if you notice, my head was continuously like this. Like just
Yeah.
it felt so good to be in your presence and all the other sisters who were there. Like it was such a
Beautiful.
good space to be in and to
It
share. So I'm so
was.
glad we connected.
I
Yeah.
know. I know. Same here. Same here. Same here. So
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about
Yes.
what your journey has been. What
Oh
has your
man.
journey been?
So, my introduction, this is the best at this time because it's very hard for me to find a name for what I do. If I were to choose a name to help our human brain anchor what I do, I am a divine channel. I am a psycho spiritual coach or mentor. I prefer mentor because I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just simply walking with you on the path and then helping you to realize the tools that you have and the guides and all of that yumminess that you have on your path to support you. And my what helped me do what I do as someone who is very connected, like there with the divine, like my whole livelihood is this channel with the divine. Like there's no separation between me and the divine. I crave it. Like people will crave sweets and candy. Like I crave the divine. And knowing like the livelihood of that connection and the feeling of safety in it and trust in it and the knowing, like I can't even find all the words for it. I want every woman to feel this way. That is what really drives me. Like I want every woman to feel this safety, this sense of I am a goddess. And what does it mean to even be a goddess? Like we're gonna remove the all the stigma around it because being a goddess is just acknowledging the divine grace, the divine love, the divine light within yourself and how it's expressed. And if you chose to be a woman in this lifetime, then you're a goddess because it's coming through that feminine channel, right? So a goddess is just acknowledging that I am divine. I am the daughter of the divine. Like the divine does not play around with me. Do you understand? I'm royalty. Like that. It's a feeling you get. Like you just feel it, and I want every woman to feel that way because this is expansiveness that comes with that, knowing that you are highly favored, highly protected, held, blessed. It's a feeling I want every woman to have, especially in this day and age. So I'm very passionate about lifting women up through my work, bringing them back to the divine, which when I say it that way kind of sounds weird because I think about like the church, bring you back to God, like it's so weird. But it's helping you to remember your divine nature. That's what I mean by bringing you back to the divine. It's just helping you to remember what you've forgotten about that connection that is always there. It's never severed, right? Um, and so, yeah, this divine connection that I have, it comes through, of course, speaking light language, but I have most of my clairs activated.
Hmm.
And so it comes through all the different avenue I can heal. The first time that I was like, oh, what's Reiki? So, most healers
Yeah.
go that route, because
Yeah.
it's like, oh, Reiki. And I remember getting the attunement, and I remember thinking to myself, I just I just feel like I can look at someone and I can heal them. That I don't need to even
Mm.
put my hands on someone. So I
Yeah.
told my teacher, I was like, is that possible? And he's like, you do it, which apparently is very rare in that kind of teaching because it's like you got to follow the rules, you got to follow the steps. And I'm very grateful that I had a teacher like that. I've been very blessed with teachers that whether they intentionally or intuitively recognized my gifts and knew that it needed to come through that way, but they supported me in that weird journey. And so, like I knew that I can look at someone and bring through that divine healing. I don't need to put my and the same thing when I went through grad school for acupuncture. I remember, putting needles like this is cool, but I can do the same thing without needles. And it was like I always have like signs where, for example, a patient laying on my table, and I'm getting ready to put the needles in, and she's like, "Oh, did you just put the needle in? Oh my gosh, I felt that." I'm like, "I haven't started." But I know what I did, like I energetically the needles are in. I'm like already moving, but they don't know that I'm an energetic, alchemist. That's what I call myself. Um, so I would always giggle when that happened because it was like a proof, like, oh, I'm not imagining this. Like it's really happening. So I always knew that I could go beyond the limitations of the physical tools to bring through true divine healing for humanity, especially women and children. They're very dear to my heart. So that's a little
Yeah.
bit about what I do and how it comes through. Yeah.
Yeah. Was that an intuitive knowing? Was there something that happened in your life that spurred that caused that to come up where you would just be aware that you had that ability?
It's interesting because I feel like I was born with it. And it
Yeah.
actually started in the womb.
Hmm.
Growing up, the first gift that came online was the healer. And I knew this because when my friends or people in the household would get sick, I would ask the divine to give me whatever they had because I could handle it and set them free. And I kid you not, every time they would get up and walk and go do their thing, and I'm sick. Like I would always do it. And I thought that's what, I mean, it felt good to do that because then they weren't suffering anymore. So that's how I started. And then even later on, like hearing my mom tell the story, she's like, you're special to me. Mothers always say that you're special. But she's like, even in the womb, I could talk to you and I would feel good. And I was like, oh, I wasn't imagining that. Like I envisioned my mom talking to me and me sending healing to her. But again, you see these visions, if you have the gift of, clear sight, you might feel it, and everyone has their own way. But for me, I could see it. And I thought is that really real or is it a story that I am creating? So when I heard her tell the story, I was like, oh, no, it did start in the womb. Um, yeah, so I was born aware and awake, and the healer was the first, and then the medium stepped in too. Um, the medium was tough because as a child, having to deal with that, it wasn't always light. Most of the time, it wasn't light. It was scary, but I had to. It was like my job every Friday night. It's very like it was clockwork back home in Ghana. Like that's where I was born, and from the time I was there, like all the way till I moved to the U.S., which was about 14 years. That was every Friday, and I hated Fridays. Oh my God, the thought of Fridays would like make me nauseous because I knew that in what the moment I go to bed, that would be my work, guiding souls, and it wasn't always fun. I'm so grateful that I had Archangel Michael with me. I am so fond of Archangel Michael, and I think it's because he was always with me, and he made sure that nothing came through to harm me. And he also taught me about my gifts, how to protect myself. You know, he could step in and kind of shield me, but he actually taught me the tools so that I could do it myself, and I'm so grateful for that. I'll keep proposing to him to be, like, but he's like, he just laughs. He thinks I'm joking. That's okay. But I am so fond of him because he was with me in a very vulnerable time of doing a job, a spiritual job that was quite scary for a child. Like
Mhm.
it was just ugh. But after we moved, I remember when we came to the US, like the first month, I noticed that when I would go to sleep on Friday, it wouldn't happen anymore. And I was like, oh, okay, okay. It stopped. I was very happy. But from mediumship, so it switched when I came to the US, it switched to the channel, which I one thing I learned about that, I was like, so does it mean that mediumship is gone? But one thing I know, even now, I can, just like a medium, I can sense spirit, I can sense souls, but I don't feel the need to guide them, if that makes sense. Like, there's no desire to create that, like, here. It's not part of my purpose anymore. So I can acknowledge them and they know it too. Because if you talk to a lot of mediums, the souls know they're mediums and usually they won't shut up. They're constant, like, hey, let's get to work. I don't get that anymore. And so, I think I was talking to a teacher, this was a while ago, and she said something like, not all mediums are channels, but all channels are mediums. It's
Interesting.
like this the mediumship, it depends on everyone's path, right? This is not like this is who you are and that's it. It depends on what your purpose is. For me, my connection to the divine is it's just that's just what it is. It's what I am. So being
Right.
a channel, it makes sense. I got to a point it's like, okay, you're ready to just allow that to come through you, to be expressed through you. And so that's what came online. So it's the healer, the channel, and then everything else that comes with that. The
Wow.
alchemist, all of that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an all-encompassing thing, right? It's not just one single focus area of
Exactly.
focus. It's all-encompassing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's all part of the sauce. Yeah, it's interesting. Did you have anyone that you communed with beyond the angels as far as guidance and what you were doing in terms of your healing work? It was just you and the angels.
It was the angels and divine. I had so
Yeah.
many dreams, like in that time when I was in Ghana. It was a continuous dream where I was trying to go back to the divine. So, like my background, my mom's side, which that's who we were living with, they're more Christian, so they're like Adventists. So, the Bible studies were like infused in there, like anchored in there. And so I think that's why the dream symbol was very close. But like I had this series of dreams where I would dream and there's a line of people, like in the Bible, they talk about it, you would form a line and we all get to the gate and then we get judged to go in. It was that scene. So though I would see, like, it's like I'll go into the dream and it's like, oh, there's a line and I'll run. It's like, yeah, I can go home. And I'll run all the way to the gate and Yeshua is standing right there. It's like, no, it's not time. Get back. And every time you did it, it's like, dude, stop trying to escape. Get back. And I'm like, oh, it was like continuous. Like every time, like, yes, I'm going home. It's like, no, it's not time. You got work to do. Get back. And I'll get so sad. Yeah. So yeah, it's always been me, the angels, and the divine. Like even working with the goddesses, like even my understanding about the goddesses is very different because I don't see them as different entities or beings separate from the divine. I see them as, if the divine is like this huge rain cloud, the raindrops are all the emanations of the divine, and the goddesses are just part of it. They're one of the emanations of the divine. So that's how I came to understand the goddesses. So when I, for example, connecting to beloved Isis, who is a huge part of me, very, like very connected, it was the aspect of the divine that has been expressed through her magic. That's how I saw her, And so it's like, yeah, she is a woman just like you, and her life path is very similar to yours. So you need to listen to her, kind of thing, It's like
Yeah.
she's a sister. You need to listen to her. She's a mother. Like I'm not sure. We're so close. I can't really call her like mother or sister, or I could call her a mentor. But it's this closeness that I guess I don't want to allow myself to really dive in because of the ego brain might step in and be like, because you hear a lot of people, oh, I'm Isis, oh, I'm this, and it's not the point, right? It's really when these goddesses step in, they're like, we have paths that are similar, and so I'm here to help you with yours because I've already walked it. That's how I experience them. But yeah, they're all these beings are just emanations of the divine. So I go straight to the divine. And the angels are right there. So
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful. So what gave you such a passion for women, for focusing on women?
It wasn't that easy. I fought it.
Oh,
It wasn't. You made it sound so easy. Like I knew it. No, I fought it for a while because I was like, why? I can do
yeah.
this with anyone. Why should I limit myself to just women? So
Yeah.
for the longest time, I was like, no, I can do it with everyone. I can work with men, women, children, that I can share this with them. So why should I limit myself? But now, from where I am, and also being incarnated as a woman in this lifetime, just looking at the time that we're in, if more women were to awaken, this world would change in a better way. Women, we've had the longest, deepest history of being subdued, of being, like I don't even know what to call this. Um, we've had
Suppressed,
to hide,
oppressed.
suppressed,
Yes.
oppressed, yeah, all of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
Having to, like I get pulled to the olden days a lot where women who are medicine people work with the earth were, like were called witches, for example. That was one of the ways they were persecuted, a big way they were persecuted to just get because a woman could do what a man, even better. Women were
Mhm.
better doctors than the men, and they didn't want that. So
Mm.
it's like we've had to not only suppress our own power to the point that we've forgotten the divine within us, which is, yeah. It's just, whew, there's so much divine in us. I sometimes I have a feeling like the divine itself is woman. But again, we know divine is consciousness. But it just, the way the energy feels and how different it feels for the masculine expression, like there's something there. And maybe, after this, we'll understand it better. But right now, more women need to wake up. They need to remember, they need to reclaim all that power they told the earth to hold for them because they were afraid. They need to reclaim all of that and wake back up again because the world needs it. Mother Earth
Yeah.
needs us to wake up. And
Yeah.
so, like it took me a while to understand this. And I had to go through my own journey, like working with the goddesses, going through my own past lives. Like there was a year where the entire year I dreamt about, it's like each month was a new past life that I would move through. It was insane, the most intense year in my life. And just to understand why I chose to be a woman in this lifetime and what that even means. So, yeah, I fought it, but now I have a little understanding. I'm still learning. Divine is still teaching me, the goddesses are still teaching me. But one thing I know is that women, our superpowers need to be back online. It is needed now more than ever, not just for ourselves, but for entire creation. It goes
Yeah.
beyond this. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they're
Yeah.
still
That's
convincing me.
yeah, that's beautiful. And I resonate so so much because I've gotten a similar message that you have to focus on the women, and my response has been, I can focus on everybody. Like, why am I singling the women out? But then I realized that women reflect creation. Women reflect the creation itself. The feminine womb contains the masculine presence, right? The masculine light. So there's something to focusing on nurturing women back
Yeah.
into connectedness with their truth. And it's funny how you get there to the understanding, because I got there through looking at the planets, like exploring the
Yeah.
cosmos. I talk about this in just about every interview I talk in now. I'm
I
talking about
love it.
the electric universe theory, right? Because in the electric universe theory, it talks about how there was a perfect solar system that contained Earth and Mars and the sun. That sun was stationary, and it kind of rotated within this plasma sheath, is what it was called. That plasma sheath was the quote unquote firmament that created the paradise conditions, right? But then it got captured by the bigger sun that we exist within now. And that mini solar system was captured and became a part of this bigger
Yeah.
solar system. And so all that came apart. The mother was detached from the masculine, meaning the core of that original sun, which was the feminine presence, was left alone by
Hmm.
by the masculine presence, which was overtaken by the bigger sun. The bigger
Exactly.
sun. It's the same story in different ways, and I
In
think these,
different.
yeah, these same themes, the same energies, because everything is energies. Energy plays out in so many different
Yes.
ways through all of these different stories that we
Yep.
receive down the line. But anyway, ultimately, it is what it is, and that's kind of how I got there, to that realization. And now I'm honoring the fact that I'm focusing on women, but I'm doing it in I don't want to say a roundabout way. I feel like I'm doing I feel like I'm doing it in a different way, so to speak. I don't
Uh-huh.
really know. I'm figuring that out like you, right?
Yes.
Where I want to do it in a way that's very impactful,
Yes.
but that reaches a lot of people in a way that they can receive, right? I'm
I'm
still
with
figuring
you.
that out
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
That's yeah, I'm on that same journey. I don't think I can ever say that I figured it out. I know what it is because it's we're constantly evolving. We're constantly growing. The Our connection to the divine keeps getting more and more advanced. Like I don't think it's like the moment you get to the point like I got it. It's like, "Oh, and that's that too." Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm going to humble myself and start learning again,
Right.
right? It's like
Yeah.
this journey, this beautiful journey of unfolding. It's like this on I don't even know if this is a word, unfoldment. Like layers
Yeah.
upon layers, that just keeps going. It's like this flower that all the petals open one at a time and you kind of just focus on one petal at a time. One petal is its own universe and another universe and then that's our multidimensionality that comes through,
Yeah.
so the
Yeah.
other part, like women, but children are also, I know that's part of my purpose, which makes a lot of sense. That if you're working with women, most likely the children will come in. But right now, they've been is that awareness has been with me for a long time. Actually, more so than women, because my mom tells me that when I was younger, I said I wanted to be a pediatrician. And then when I wanted to go to med school, I thought about being a pediatrician. So like working with kids it's like this subconscious, it's like back here. I can't quite put my finger on it, but it's there. But one thing I know is that I have a huge passion for kids. Like that protection, that instinct, who is there? It is strong. So there's something there. I have um, yeah, there's something there. There's a connection. I don't know how it's going to be expressed or how it's going to be created. that I know, especially when I'm around kids, like these new kids coming in who are fully aware. You see them and they look straight at you and like, oh, you recognize me. You see me, don't you? I get more and more connections like that. Or a kid runs up to me in the park where my little one is playing, and she just sits by me and just talks to me the entire time. I'm like, oh, you recognize me, don't you? And I know that her sitting next to me, physically it just looks like I'm talking to her, but energetically there's so much more going on there, like energetic attunements, like clearing her field. Like there's so much that's happening. There's a reason why she chose to come sit with me. So I know there's something there. It's not yet time to be revealed. So right now it's like, let's work on women, and then from there we're gonna come into the seeds that come out of women. I don't know if that makes sense, but we'll see. We'll see.
Right.
We'll see how that works out, right? That the divine
Right.
will guide. I am open, but it's definitely on my path. Something there.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. It's a process. This
Yeah.
evolution thing is a process because I liken it to an artist testing paint.
Yes.
Right. Because all of these
Absolutely.
things you get that you can try these new things you try them out for a while, you see how they work, and then you couple that with something else to see how
Yes.
that works together, and it's a continual, in
It
some
just
sense,
keeps growing and getting
process.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like
that's
I
how it
really
works.
hope that, anyone who's listening to this, if you've been kind of gambling, not gambling, but kind of having a hard time with purpose, like what is my purpose? Or maybe you step into something like, this is my purpose. We're dynamic beings. It's okay. Sometimes it needs to change, and it will change, because guess what? You're not stagnant. You're not staying. I mean, if you stay the way you are, then yes, everything else will be that. Even that, things still change around you.
Right,
So how can we expect our purpose to not change either?
right.
When you tune into yourself, when you come back home to yourself, then you can truly understand that purpose is fluid.
Mm,
It's not one thing.
yeah.
Is really about expression in the moment, in the time that you're in. What is that expression that wants to come through you? How does it want to be shown? And as you're growing, that can grow too, or something else will come in. The 3 years ago, I was like, oh, I got all my gifts. I know it. I know my gifts. Like we're good. Like we're good. I'm talking to people. I'm like, yeah, this is who I am. This is it. Like I know it. That's when I started speaking light language. That's the same year. Like it was, I was so drawn to, like, I always did like light symbols. Like I would doodle it, but I didn't know that's what I just thought I was doodling. And then I was also very drawn to people speaking light language. Not everybody, certain ones who were really bringing through the frequency. And it would always like bring me to tears. Like, wait, I'm like, what is this? And so that year, I'm listening to these two couples who I love them so much. And every time they speak light language, I'm just like, oh my God, what is this? So, but it got to a point where there was so much pressure in my throat. I
Mm.
could not stand it anymore. I was like, oh my gosh. I even sent them a message. I was like, I don't know what this is. Am I supposed to speak it? What are you supposed to activate me? Like, what is happening? This needs to stop. And they're like, just keep breathing, just keep listening. I was like, whatever. So I called in my higher self and I was like, dude, this I can't. What is this? And it was like in the morning. I remember my higher self was like, why don't you pick up your phone and just start talking? And so I picked up my phone, pressed the record, and I opened my mouth. And yeah, that was it. It just literally poured out of me. And I remember after that, I looked at myself in the mirror. I was like, huh, alrighty then. I guess I speak light language now.
Wow, nice.
But yeah, that even that whole journey of preparing me to get there, which now looking back, it's like it started a long time ago. I just had no idea how that was going to be expressed. I had no idea what it was until I got to that perfect time for me, right? And then that gift was like, it's time for it to come out and be
Mm.
expressed. And everything was orchestrated to get me activated and get me ready and prepared for that gift to come online. I mean, it's just like you can never make this up. Like, like it is. Yeah. So after that, I was like, yeah, I don't know anymore because I thought I had all my gifts and I had it set. No, no. So I'm just gonna chill on that because who
Yeah.
knows what other gift will come online that I have no idea
Right.
what it was. Yeah.
We're
Yeah.
infinite. We're infinite. So, I mean, infinite possibility abounds. So, you kind of have
Yeah.
to detach yourself from the expectations associated with
Exactly.
labels and all of these things.
Yeah.
You mentioned purpose and settling on this is my purpose.
Yeah.
Because what that sets you, that's like a seductive trap
Yeah.
that sets you, it is.
Well said.
It can set you up for stagnation, right?
Yes.
It can set you up for one dimensionality, right?
Yes.
Yes, yeah. But if you are willing to assess your labels and detach from those, detach from the necessity to be bound by a single point of
Yes.
focus through a purpose, then you set yourself free. You liberate yourself to become more than you could ever dream of becoming, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
you allow life to meet you in the moment
Yes.
versus attempting to orchestrate your own becoming, right? Like you
Yes.
set
Oh my
yourself
God.
free. you you set yourself free ultimately, right? I think about that a lot because I think about in the beginning when I first started to open up and I was basically modeling what I did off of what I had seen. So
Yeah.
in my mind, I'm channeling like Esther Hicks. Oh, I'm gonna
Yeah.
become the next Esther Esther Hicks.
Yes.
And
Yes.
my husband, oh, he can ask me the questions like Jerry, like
Yeah.
be that right. And I think about that all the time. I think about that all the time. And I had a friend at the time who asked me, she said, what do you really want this to become? And I
Yeah.
told her that. And she said, it's one thing to aspire to create a business, right? Because I mean, they've created a business, but you're just
Yeah.
here to deliver information. How can you do that? Like what's your way? And that woke me up. And I thought to myself, if I want to be like them, well, I could never be like them or as good as them in the way that they are doing it because I'm not
Exactly.
them, right?
Hmm.
I'm not Esther Hicks. I kind of have to let that go
Yeah.
and set myself free to not know what's coming and just surrender to the becoming, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. The way I have learned purpose to be is that purpose has nothing to do with what we do and
Yeah.
rather is our being.
Yeah.
Purpose is our being. Who are you becoming? It's that whole journey. When you think of it that way, like it's not, purpose is not about what I'm doing, but who I'm being. All of a sudden,
Yeah.
you're like, whoa, it opens it up for you. Like,
Yeah.
who am I really being? Who do I want to be? Right. And you realize also that that whole entire journey of you becoming is your
Hmm.
purpose.
Right.
All of that, you might have maybe went this route and you're like, oh, why did I do it? That was so stupid and waste of time. That was part of the journey. That was also a purpose. And also
Yeah.
you realize that purpose is not one thing, that we actually we have plenty of purposes that we execute and finish. Some continue. We have the main one that is elusive to us, to be honest. That way I feel like most of us have that sense of it and we try to chase it because we think it's the end result. That's where we need to be rather than a continuous journey. But I see like these strands like coming off of the main the main stream. I'm gonna call it the stream. And you have these little branches coming. And each branch takes you to a place where you awaken an aspect of yourself. You claim a wisdom, a forgotten wisdom, forgotten self. Like it all has a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
You went that way. For example, I Like me choosing to go the medical school route, there was a purpose. I got to learn the human body, unlike anyone in my field right now, in my niche, who does what I do, does not have that wisdom of the human body like I do because I went that route. I didn't want to be a doctor after that route because I realized I'll be limited if I did
Hmm.
that.
Yes.
And then go into traditional Chinese medicine, which I thought that was my purpose. I'm going to become an acupuncturist. And again, universe like, nope. Mm-mm. It's like, God, stop it. Stop it. Again, it gave me an ancient wisdom that I can use in my work. Now, when I show up to work with a woman and I say, we're going to dive into the divine, we're looking at your body, we're looking at your mind, we're looking at your heart, we're looking at your connection to spirit. I'm able to view all of those, not just spiritually, but also physically. Again,
Yeah.
my background is also in psychology. So again,
Hmm.
obsessed with the human brain. I just love it. Like it gave me all these paths, which it was a nuisance because they all cost me money to achieve these wisdom. It was like, why? Why didn't you just like take me on a straight road? But I had to go on all these painful because I had to work hard to graduate and get the degrees from there. But they
Yeah.
gave me a wisdom that made me better,
Yeah.
not just for me, but when I show up to work with a woman, I'm able to see her in
From
every
many
way.
aspects. From
Exactly.
many aspects. Yeah, I
Yeah.
so get that. I didn't take the route of taking courses, but I feel like I've been on that journey in a roundabout way through books. And that
Yes.
like my guidance has guided me to books as points of focus to pick up this thing and this thing and this
Oh, you're lucky.
all these disparate things that I've picked up, but they create a more complete view. They give you
Yes.
a full spectrum view of what you might be
Yeah.
looking at. So you can see that thing from many perspectives.
Yeah.
It's interesting how that works.
It really does. It's so
Yeah.
many times I get when someone comes to work with me, they view me as, like on social media when someone says, I'm a spiritual teacher. There's this stigma of how you look,
Yeah.
how you do things. And then they
Yeah.
start working with me and like, wow, you're the most grounded spiritual teacher I've ever met. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, because I understand that spirit needs to come to earth. Spirit doesn't
Right.
need to stay up there. Spirit wants to be on earth. Spirit wants to be expressed through you, anchored into the earth. And I'm the bridge in that. We're building heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. That's what
Yes.
we're doing, pulling it down. And so my work does that. It anchors in. I understand the way the brain works in ways that's beyond is beyond what we're taught in the books.
Yes.
I can see the physical brain, the neurons, how it works, but also go beyond that.
Yeah.
Energetically, what's happening, what is really firing in the brain, and the expansive nature of the human brain. And not to mention the heart. Oh my God. The first time I held these organs in my hands, I was so blown away. I think the heart was, I was like, okay, this is what pumps and how blood moves in and oxygen comes in and it literally pumps this life force through our entire body. Wow. And then the brain, I fell in love with the brain immediately. And sometimes I make a joke, like maybe because I'm a Virgo, so maybe that's why I'm like, yes, the brain. Yes. But I love the brain because it is this just gray squishy thin, heavy, very heavy. You would be surprised how heavy your brain is. And you're like, wow, this thing right here, without it, without it, that's it. Like this up here connects not just our entire being through the nervous system. Like the brain structure, the nervous system, you can really see its reflect how the divine is reflected in the physical. You can see how the workings of the universe, like how it's stretched. Oh my God, it completely blew my mind.
Yeah.
Like I'm sitting there with a huge smile on. I think my teacher thought I was having too much fun. It's like, Abigail, are you learning there? And like, you have no idea. Like just having too much fun because It's like, oh my God, it's truly the intangible manifested in physical. Like we are
The cosmos.
walking. Yes, we are.
Yes, yes,
We
yes,
absolutely are. And there's physical proof that
yes,
we are the cosmos. And it just,
yes.
yeah, so you can tell I'm still very, yeah, it lights me
I'm blown
up.
away by that all the time. Everything is everything.
It
No matter
is.
what you are learning, you know, the human mind, the human mind is so funny because we like to organize and compartmentalize
Yes,
and learn things in isolation when really everything is one thing. And each of
exactly.
these disciplines, each subject, each point of focus basically gives you another perspective of the
Yes,
complete thing. And if you can see it in that way, you can begin to dissect and understand all of life and
yes,
how life is designed to work. You can see the
yes,
interaction between people by understanding how planets interact, how suns interact,
yes.
how they come to be and exist. I'm like, oh my God, it's all one thing. And it's blowing my mind.
It's exactly.
It's all one look, I built motorcycles. Like
Wow.
most people go the Reiki route when they
Yes.
get into this energy thing. And so that's what I thought I was
Yes,
supposed to do. So
exactly.
so I signed up for a Reiki class, paid for it and everything. And I took it one day. And when I got in the class and she started discussing, I was like, I already know this. Like I didn't know how
Exactly.
I knew
I
it. I was
already
like,
know it.
I already know this. And so I stopped taking the class. I was like, you can quit that class. And so I did. In a couple of weeks, I started building motorcycles. I started working with the motorcycles, and through building the motorcycles for each one, the first thing I would do would be deconstruct it, take the wiring out, and replace all the wiring and the components. And through that process, after building like two or three, because I built
Yeah.
like five total, but after I built like the first two or three, I realized what was happening. We were teaching ourselves about energy, capacity to pass energy through these energetic lines, and how these components work, and what I needed to consider in terms of amperage
Yeah.
and working with the different components. Everything is literally everything. How I had to listen to the carburetors to get them in sync. How I had to learn to tune in vibrationally to the carburetors in order to sync the carburetors to get the engine to run just
Yes.
right. I had to feel into that. Everything is literally everything. And that statement that says, know thyself, know the
Yes.
cosmos, like you know all things because everything is everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh man,
That's
like
amazing.
listening to you talk about the wiring system, like that's all in the human body. Like
Yes, it
acupuncture really
is.
showed me, like the Western medicine path showed me the physical, like the arteries, the veins, the nerves, and how everything flows and works together. And then acupuncture was like, oh, now let's go the energetic. Let's look at the flow. And you're like, oh my gosh, there's an energetic flow that you can actually find on your body. And you just like, we are not simple creations. Like we are not. And, it kind of, I'm hoping that our medical system will catch up to that. Like, if all the different modalities came together,
Yeah.
that would be perfect for the human body. All of it,
It's,
Ayurveda, acupuncture, all the Western medicine, like, bring it all together. That would really hold the human body. Like, oh my God, it would be incredible. But, of course, things need to be separated and, oh, it's frustrating.
yeah. So tell me your perspective of this because the way I perceive it, dis-ease is simply an imbalance, right? I
Yes,
perceive it as needing to rebalance the body. The heart
yes,
is the very center of the center of you, and it holds the divine pulse. It is
yes.
literally the vortex of the portal, like the portal space, the center of the portal space that is you, right? Right? How do you perceive us in terms of health and well-being, having the ability to manage our health and well-being by simply knowing how to
Hmm.
maintain balance, right?
Hmm. I'm gonna start with this story. So this is what steered me away from Western medicine. So in college, at some point, being a pre-med student, you have to shadow doctors. So I was shadowing doctors, and I had these two doctors that I was really fond of because it was so much fun. Like they quizzed me, they would like tease me, like, yeah, Dr. Mensah-Bonsu, like it felt so good. But they didn't make it easy for me. They were always challenging me, asking me questions in front of patients who was like, oh my gosh, don't ask me, I don't know. I'm just a college student, But it helped. But one day, so this is a question that every med student gets every time like, why do you want to be a doctor? And I was like, I want to teach people that their bodies can heal itself. And I remember my first mentor was a male doctor, and he's like, "Tell me more." I was like, "Well, growing up, actually, even now, I can sense when my body is about to get sick, and I start to crave certain foods." So when I was younger, again back home in Ghana, like malaria, when you're back home, it's like getting a cold here or even a flu. You're there, you get it so much that it's nothing. I could feel in my body, even now, like I can feel when something is off. And I would start craving, like we had citrus trees, and I'll get like the unripe orange or eat lemon. Like I'll literally just grab it and start eating it. I also loved spicy soups, like really spicy. Now I know that the citrus was vitamin C. I was boosting myself up. Like the spiciness again, boosting my immunity up, fighting whatever that was. Like that is what I craved. And I was like, I can teach people that their body already holds the wisdom. Whatever they need, they can listen to their body will guide them to it. You know, this is part of my healer path. Like I can smell someone and know exactly like you're about to get sick. My husband gets so mad because I'm like, hey, you should go take some echinacea. You're about to get sick. And he's like, God dang it. And if he doesn't listen, he does get sick. But if he does listen and he drinks that tea ahead of time, even if he gets sick, and knocks it down. But I can smell it. Like I have that smell, that sense. Like working in acupuncture school in the clinic, I could smell when someone had cancer, or like it's like these different, and I could also see it in the structure. But we have these wisdom before we get to the dis-ease. Our bodies have a way of telling us what we need so that we can begin to balance and we don't get there. But because we are in on a human journey, sometimes we need, things land, and then we have to figure it out a different way. And again, I feel like there's different levels to this. There's no, like when maybe how we're talking about it might make it sound simple, but it's not, because each person is different. The way I see this is that it starts spiritually. That's why we can sense it. For me, that's why I can tell what I need. Like I start craving spinach and creating my spicy soup and drinking echinacea. I know exactly what my body's doing because I've been listening to it for a long time. When I start getting headaches, what is going on? Oh, I need to drink some water. Not just any water. It was like 2 years ago. So my husband has one of those filtered thing that filters water, clean it up. And I was like, this water tastes empty. Like it just tastes empty, doesn't taste right. He's like, what do you mean? It cleans everything out. It's like pure water. It's like it's empty. And we were talking to one of our acupuncturist mentors, and she's like, well, it removes everything out of it? And he's like, yeah. She's like, I think you need to put minerals back in there. And I was like, that's what I was telling you. It's empty. And then he had to remineralize it with good stuff. And I drank it. I was like, yes, this is what I was talking about. So again, it's like we can feel like the wisdom. You don't have to be, this is not about being special. It's part of this body came with it. It came
Yeah.
with its own wisdom and technology to help you. Like it is advanced. We're living in an advanced suit, but we
Yes.
don't know that, and we're learning. Like we're learning. But it's like, whoa, the body has its own wisdom, and if you listen, it would teach you. Just like if Archangel Raphael was coming in to teach you, like your body holds that wisdom. So I told my mentor that, and he was like, it would be so amazing if like the medical community would allow that. But unfortunately, if you become a doctor, you would not be able to do that. And I
Yeah.
remember I was like, what do you mean? I spent 4 years like doing this, like studying and getting ready. What do you mean? He's like, there's too much rules.
Yeah.
And he talked about the pharmacy. And I think I was very blessed to have these mentors because it happened twice. It was like the second week, the second mentor asked me the same question, and we talked about the same thing. So I think it was divinely orchestrated because, again, it's not something that a lot of med students or pre-med students will get, where the mentor will be like, hey, I see your vision, but it's not going to fit. You
Yeah.
know, like so I was very lucky and I'm very fortunate, but it still broke my heart because that was hard work. You know, it's like
Yeah.
it's not gonna, you won't be able to teach them that your bodies do that. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh crap. So now what? How would I do this? You know, and so it just going back to that question, it just our bodies hold is has its own wisdom. And if we are able to unlock it, we would be the beings, the lineage of human beings that live a long time and
Mm.
happy. Like, but
Yeah.
again, that's part of the journey. I think
Yeah.
somewhere down, I can see it, I can feel it. Somewhere down, we're gonna have ancestors who get to experience that. What the
Mm.
work that we're doing right now, figuring things out, but we need to, I think we need to get to a point where we stop depending on outside sources to tell us about our own bodies. We need
Yes.
to figure out our own bodies first and then meet someone in the middle and then use that information to even unlock more about our own bodies. Like when I go to my doctor, I'm not going there to be like, hey, tell me what to do. Usually I'm like, this is what's going on. I feel this when it is coming on. And usually they're looking at me like, wow. Um, yeah, you're very in tune with your body, aren't you? Like, yeah. And from there, it gives them even more information to be able to guide me on the direction that I need to go. And if they're
Yeah.
recommending something that my body's like, hell no, I'm not going to follow. And then in a way, like, again, I've been blessed with really amazing doctors because it challenges them to be like, okay, well, this is what I've always done and it's not working here. So what are the other options? And so
Yeah.
always challenges them to look outside of the box and then they can find something that's better for me. But it's because I don't settle for the here, take this, go, that will solve. It's not going to solve because my body's telling me it's not going to solve it.
Yeah.
And I'm listening to my body because I'm the one living in it. You're not
Yeah.
living in my body. And if you're not listening to me, you can't help me.
Yeah.
So see, before we can even get there, we need to understand our bodies. And then we need to meet the acupuncturist, the Ayurvedic doctor, the Western medic, the surgeon or whoever. We need to meet them in a place where it's like, this is my wisdom, this is your wisdom. Let's add it together and figure out what works for you. That's going to
Right.
take a lot of time. That's is part of our journey. So we'll
Yeah.
get there. I know we will because I see it. But all
Yeah.
of this, I believe, is part of it. It's part of what is guiding us to that utopian age, if we should choose a word for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's beautiful. That's a beautiful journey. And I appreciate so the fact that you recognize that they recognize that in you, the difference between what you wanted to pursue and the bounds of where they could go within that particular
Yeah.
field. I think listening to this story, I hope it'll empower listeners to kind of do that work to discover
Yes.
themselves, right? Because that's what it comes down to is
That's what it comes down to. Yeah.
knowing yourself, yeah, discovering yourself. And I think it becomes easier to do that when you hear stories like this shared because I have my own story of
Yeah.
going through that process because I was a hardcore personal trainer for a really long time, like through grad school. And I got to a point where when I really started to get in touch with myself
Yes.
through nature, communing with nature, I was
Yes.
walked back into well-being. It's like Gaia walked me back into well-being with myself, and I ended up getting rid of all the workout equipment that I had because I realized it was beyond that. Like if you think you have to work out to lose weight or to get
Mm.
healthy or whatever it is, then that's your path, right? You've defined that by virtue of your own
Yeah.
belief. But when you understand that your body is perfectly made,
Yeah.
divinely made, right? A
Oh,
well-built machine that already knows how to how to make
exactly.
so all you got to do is get out of the way. My
Yes.
my my prayer one time was, you know what? I realized this thing can heal itself.
Yeah.
So show me how to get out of my own way so that I can
Oh,
allow that to happen. And that's what ultimately happened. I have so many stories of like that,
yeah.
learning that lesson that way. But ultimately, the last time I worked out was before I got in touch with Gaia, right? Like,
Yeah.
like, once I got in touch, I realized it was just a matter of communing with, listening,
Yes.
surrendering to what the body says it needs or wants in a moment because it knows. If you know how to listen, you have
Yeah.
to know how to listen.
And also,
Yeah.
like, when we talk about listening, because I'm thinking about people, for example, who listen through their cravings, like I'm craving sugar, therefore that's what I want.
Yeah.
Like, that's
Yeah.
different. So for me, like when I start craving spinach, who craves spinach? Who craves, like it's very specific things. So you're like, or like habanero. It's like, oh my gosh, like I drool. Like habanero is part of my story, like my birthing story. So it's very sacred to me. I can't live. It's like my life force. I love it. Like it just it's part of yeah. But like citrus, like certain like berries, sometimes like black and red. Red, oh my God, pomegranates. Oh,
Yeah.
the red life force, like I'm eating it and it feels like I'm literally drinking life force into my body and I can feel it flow through every part of my being. Every cell is like, like I can feel it. So
Wow.
it's a different craving. Like
Yeah.
when you're craving sugar and you know very well that if you eat that sugar, you're going to have a headache. That is not your body telling you it wants sugar to heal.
Yeah.
That's something else telling you to eat that, even though there's going to be consequences. There's something there because what the body tells you to eat, if you do eat it, you feel better. You will feel that life. Like I've even taught my husband to do it, where he tastes the food and he starts tearing up. He's
Yeah.
like, "This is good," but like it just is the kind of food, is the kind of water, is the kind of drinks that you put in your body and literally feels like your entire every cell in your body is celebrating.
Yeah.
Like that's how you know, like that's the medicine for
Interesting.
your body versus the cravings that we usually get out of habit or conditioning. All of those will mimic that same thing, but there's usually consequence to it. I wanted to
Yeah.
differentiate that, and
Yeah.
just talk a little bit about that. Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting. Interesting perspective because my perspective is completely different
Yeah.
now versus where it used to be because I perceive it as this might sound
Say it. Say it out.
okay. Okay.
Just
This
say
is
it.
this is this is how I view what I consume. This is my
Yes.
perspective on how I govern myself now. I am a human. I am a being, a soul and human, enjoying the pleasures of being human. So I don't deny myself the pleasures of being
Yes.
human, right? So if I get a desire for something, then I indulge it. But this is the caveat. I'm not nourished by food. I am nourished by light as light. So in that
Ooh.
way, I'm not bound to anybody's perception of what this food brings, right?
Yes.
I'm not bound by anybody's definition of if this food is good or bad. That's their
Yeah.
judgment, their opinion. I'm nourished by the light. I am
Yeah.
light nourished by light. In that From that perspective, I found that I don't have cravings. I don't
Interesting.
I don't
I love
like
it.
I'm in a place where I no longer have
Yeah.
cravings and I think about like the breatharians that I've become aware of like
Yeah.
Jasmine Heen and Elot I can't even pronounce his name but I think about them and I was like, how can you exist without food? And I think this is how that's done because you realize you're no longer bound to that
Exactly.
particular thing because you are nourished by all that is. You are nourished by the very fabric of creation
Yes.
itself. That's what I'm perceiving. And I feel like in that way, I'm being weaned off a dependence, a heavy dependence on actual physical food because most of what I do now is drink. Like like
Yeah.
my diet at present, this is my typical day. I wake up with a cup of mushroom coffee
Yes.
and I drink coconut water. If I'm drinking water, I drink a lot of coconut water
Yeah.
and filtered, purified, distilled water. If I
Yeah.
have to drink water, but my diet is very I want it's like I don't eat a lot of things. I don't eat
Yes.
a lot of stuff. I don't crave a lot of fruits
Yeah.
or any of that stuff. I'm healthier than I ever been, but I just
Yes.
don't have all of these cravings. And I think sometimes to myself, is this how that journey toward becoming I got it, yeah. But
Yes.
that journey
Exactly.
toward becoming breatharian because I feel like some people think like if I want to become breatharian, then I have to stop eating these things rather than realizing it's a result of a consciousness state that's been achieved,
Exactly.
right?
Yes.
Yeah, I feel like I'm
So
going in that direction.
there is, I want to say there's a theory, but it's not really a theory. It's just a knowing. It's part of, remember, I was talking about us getting to a point on our
Yeah,
timeline where we live for a long time.
yeah,
There, there's a part where we realize that we are not limited to, like we basically eat light. That's what it
yes,
gets down.
yes.
Like that is part of our path. Like, but I don't. I in this day and age, when we talk about that, there's so much that gets skewed on it.
Mm,
So the what I'm hearing is like we just have to let you guys walk your path because you will get there. Either
yeah,
way, it's on the journey. But we are built of light. It
right,
makes sense that we can grow and survive on light alone.
right.
And then there's food that is light, that
Yes,
supports the physical. And I
yes.
think when we are, some beings, some of us beings that came to master, especially the physical, which that's my, because spiritual, I'm like, good.
Yeah.
Physical, I'm like, God dang it, why am I here? That's why I was trying to run for a long time. Like that's my mastery in this lifetime, mastering
Yeah.
being here in my body, being comfortable being on earth.
Yeah.
We need to begin to see where the light is physically and eating that light through food. So
Mm.
identifying the foods that are light
Yeah.
versus the ones that are not. But in order to do that, we're going to go back to know thyself. You got to know you. You got to know your body. You got to find that light within yourself, understand that, and that light will begin to take you to the foods, to the drinks, to the all of that that will nourish and help you build more of that light. Because
Yeah.
Earth Mother, Divine Mother, Gaia is light in physical form, light manifested. And
Mm.
our food is supposed to be the expression of that light. But in this day and age, it's just so much contamination, and it's hard to find food that does that, like that
Mm.
you put in your mouth and your whole cells are like you're buzzing, like you can feel it. It's like your whole body's like yes, it's hard to find.
Yeah.
It's getting harder and harder to find more foods like that. If you
Yeah.
grow your own food and you take care of your own land, you get closer to planting and harvesting foods that would do that.
Mm.
Or if you live in a community where they're very conscious about how they treat the earth and they grow food like that, you get to experience that foods of light.
Yeah.
And I think some of us were here to help with that. I don't know, not maybe help is not the right one, but identify the foods that nourish the light within us. The foods
Mm,
that are manifestation of light, and then we eat it physically to support our physical body, and then it nourishes the light within us. Because even, if you look under the powerful microscope, you can actually see the light sparks within your body. We
mm-hmm.
have light physically in our bodies
Mm-hmm.
constantly, like electricity sparking.
Yeah.
So down the road, we will finally be in a place where we're like, oh, yeah, I don't really need physical food. Like I
Yeah.
feel it and I know it. We're going to
Mm-hmm.
get there. But for now, I think we need to understand the physical nature of it. You're good. You're on your
Yeah.
path. You're good.
Yeah.
But more people need to understand the physical nature of light,
Yeah.
master that, and then when they're done, they're like, oh yeah, now I get it. I don't need this. You know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again, I feel like it's a luxury in a way because
Mm.
you like getting to eat a pomegranate. Like it's just like, wow, this is thank you. I can taste it. I can, oh my God. It is truly, oh my God. It's the most amazing experience of
Yeah.
life in your hands, moving into your body, rejuvenating, healing you. It's a whole experience that, thinking about the other beings and other you who are more light who don't get to experience that. They're jealous. They wish they could eat that. So it is a whole experience in itself.
Yeah.
But again, it comes down to, you know, knowing yourself. What is your journey? Where are you at
Yeah.
right now? What are the invitation? What are you supposed to be mastering right now? Focus on that and then
Yeah.
keep moving forward on your path. And that will lead you where you need to go. But knowing yourself, there's a whole thing about it. Know your body, know your mind, know your heart, know everything about you.
Yeah.
And then,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But I love that you shared that because it is who we are as humans. It's part of
Yeah.
the higher, I don't like using the word higher, evolved human. I don't even know what word to call it. That we get to a point where it's like light is all there is. I
Right.
am light. That's all there is. And I've actually seen the beings who don't eat food like we do. There's actually
Yeah.
many beings who don't eat
Right.
food like we
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And they look at us like, what are you doing? You can't live with us? It's like, what are you doing? They don't need, and they're living longer. Like they're
Yes.
eternal beings.
Right.
So again, it's like we need to break down the things that limit us in our
Right.
physicality, and that's gonna begin to unlock our eternalness, if that's a
Yeah.
word.
Yeah.
So I'm
Yeah.
glad you shared that. It's
Yeah.
fascinating.
It is fascinating. It's been a process because I've
Yeah.
gone from like my family says 0 to 5,000 because I go through these phases where I eat and
Yes.
don't eat. I can go
Yeah.
long stints without eating and be fine. They just
I
think
go
it's
through it's part of my cycle where I
yeah,
would go like 3 to 4 months where I can't stand meat. So
yeah,
it's just like eggs and veggies and fruits, and that's all I crave and all I want. And
yeah,
then after that my body's like, hey, yeah, we need some meat, and then I'll start bringing it in. But it's like a cycle. The
yeah.
last one was like the end of last year to probably like March or April of this year, where I was like, no, I can't eat like any kind of meat, fish,
Yeah,
chicken, turkey, like could not stand it. My
yeah,
husband's like, what are you gonna eat? Like
yeah,
seriously, are you gonna be okay?
yeah,
But yeah, so we have to follow. We all have, again, it's like part of that wisdom of the body. What does your body need? And for me, I go through that cycle for some reason because I know the
mhm,
times where I'm eating more of the fruits and the greens. Oh God, yes. I can't like you can tell like oh
yeah,
it's like the spirulina green like that, oh, life-giving green, like I
yeah,
can't get enough of it.
yeah,
Like there's a reason why when you look into what it does, it's like, yeah, I know what my body's doing. I know why
yeah,
it's building up on that. And then when I get to a place where I need to eat meat again, it's like, oh, my iron is low. I need to
Yeah.
replenish myself. But again, it's my body directs me on what kind of meat I want because the smell of it
Yeah.
literally repels it. Like it's like I smell it's like no, we're not
Yeah.
eating that. I
Right.
can't stand chicken. I can't stand it. My body tells me.
Yeah.
And again, I wanted to say, like, I think for me, it's strong because I've been listening to it since I was a child.
Yeah.
And it's been a practice for a long time. So right now, it's like
Second
I've done
nature.
it for my whole
Yeah.
life. So it looks like
Yeah.
it's easy. So I'm saying that so that you know that wherever you are, just start where you are and know that it's a journey. And this journey has no destination. It's just you get better and better and better at listening to your body and following your body's wisdom. There's no right
Yes.
or wrong. It's just all about you and your body. Yeah,
That's exactly it. There is no right or wrong. You can't get you wrong, right? You cannot get you wrong. You're the only you. And nobody can tell you how to do you but you. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly.
That's a big lesson. That's one I'm like trying to instill in my daughter now
Oh,
is that you can't get you wrong, right? There's no right or
exactly.
wrong. Yeah, that's
Exactly.
beautiful. You talk a lot about grounding and being here to actually be human. And I had a good friend who level set that for me when I first moved to Florida
Yeah.
about 2, 3 years ago. And I had never heard it in the way that she put it. She's like, we are here to actually be
Yeah.
human, right? So surrendering to life and all that life brings.
Yeah.
But I wanted to ask, how do you go about grounding and settling yourself into human form? Because so many people ask the question, how do I ground? How do I get grounded? I feel so great up here, in the
Exactly.
clouds, but how do I settle in and allow myself to actually be human? What's your
Yeah.
practice? How do you get there?
So, I mean, as you can tell from my beginning stories, like most of my childhood, I was not in my body. It wasn't until I was in college. I no, I think it was like 26. At 26, that's when I felt like I really landed, and then I didn't know what to do with myself. But yeah, for all that time, my physical body was just like here, and then my spirit was here guiding my body. So it's like this huge, because again, I felt safe in the divine. I wanted to go back. I was like, why am I here? I don't want to be here. I was just rejecting it complete, anything physical, rejecting it. It didn't make sense to me. I mean, being human is hard. Okay, like it's so much harder than being our spiritual self. Everything makes sense and everything is just, oh, it feels good, So for me, my journey, the first part of my journey was when I met my first teacher, who was a shaman. And she helped me really understand my body. So, like, bring me back to my body. How is your body feeling? What is how do you the physical nature of my body, the feelings in my body, the aches within my body, like, and again, connecting to nature. I feel like nature is the greatest teacher when it comes to our physicality, hands down. If you want to learn how to ground, go in nature and go sit. Literally, that's all you need to do. Watch the trees, watch the animals, touch the plants. That's your grounding. Put your feet on the ground, put your feet in the water, hold the rock. Like, we make it so complicated sometimes. But
All the time.
we do. It's like, well, you got to meditate to ground. Meditation to me is spiritual. And it's
Yeah.
so easy to escape through that and still
Yeah.
not be physical in your body. So to really ground is to really be here. Be here in
Yes.
your body. Feel it all. That's why I
Yes.
think somatic practices, so yoga, oh my gosh. I said yoga and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's going to take them on a whole thing. Like, oh my gosh, I have to be a yogist and do the bending. So when I say yoga, I'm talking about sun salutation where I'm just breathing in my body.
Yes.
Simple, 5 minutes tops, connects me to my body. That's what I'm calling yoga here. So I wanted to clarify that. But somatic practices that bring you right into your body.
Yes.
So even just like shaking your body,
Hmm.
that will ground you. Eating root vegetables will ground you. Listening to drums, dancing to drums
Mm.
will freaking ground you. like no other. But putting your feet, there's nothing like putting your bare feet on the earth. Ultimate grounding. That's all you got to do. Take off the socks, take off the shoes, go to your backyard, plop your feet on the earth. You don't need to make any mantras. You don't need to do and just stand there and breathe into your body. Follow your breath. That's the ultimate grounding. We got to make it simple. We got to go back to the roots. Our body was already, we had this physical suit to ground us because without it, we'll be out there. So we already have the tool. We just forgot. So then, how do we connect to this one right here? Our breath, being aware of how we move our bodies and how it makes us feel. Like all of that is grounding. I hope that made sense. I'm trying to make it as easy as possible.
Yeah, it did. It makes perfect sense. I love what you said about if you want to get grounded, just go be one with Mother Earth. Like, because that's what happened to me when 2020 came and we had to go inside. Well, I was trying to get outside because my family was inside because because it was so
Yeah.
loud. But I would take these really long walks to the park. And I would walk, girl, I would walk at a snail's pace around the
Yes.
park, really slow. And in that process, I started to connect. And eventually, I started to just sit in the middle of the field out there and just be. And
Yeah.
eventually, I started to hear. So that's absolutely accurate what you said about reconnecting with yourself, allowing nature to teach you.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
The
to remind
trees,
you of who you are. Right.
yeah, the trees are one of the greatest teachers we have on this physical plane. Go
Yeah.
connect with a tree. Go touch a tree. Go sit underneath a tree and talk to the tree. Better yet, if you're not afraid, if you're not nervous
Yeah.
that people will think you're crazy, you don't even have to open your mouth. Just use your mind. Talk to the tree and be like, this is what I'm going through. I don't feel grounded. The tree will probably be like, what do you mean by grounded? You're sitting on
Mm,
earth. You are grounded. I think most of it is our minds. We've disconnected to the simplest forms of the very thing that we need, the very things that we need. We've made it more complicated, which has created more gap between the truth and the reality.
right.
And so it's really about reminding ourselves or remembering, going back to the roots of things, which you realize that it's the most simplest thing. I realize for me, for my body to feel good, I just need to get out there and walk.
Hmm.
That's all it needs. My body has made it very clear. I've tried so many other things, and it always is like, you know what? All you have to do is just go to walk. I'm not asking you to go for a run. I'm not asking you to bend like a yoga. Like you can do all of that, but I just need you to walk. And learning about walking, like you are activating all your muscles. You're activating so much more. And for me, my body loves to walk. It also loves to dance.
Yeah.
Again, they're two simple things to me that I didn't think that, oh, this can really help me be, like have a better health and wellness. But for my body, it is the thing. It's like, this is what gives me life. Do more of that. And of course, I choose everything else. I mean, that's just
Yeah.
what we do. It's like, oh, I'm going to try to do this weight challenge for like 21 days. And my body's like, how was that? Yeah, are you gonna continue? No. Okay. Can we go for a walk? Okay.
Right.
So I still try different things, but I always get reminded of the simplest part. Go for a walk. Go dance.
Hmm.
Simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. Simplicity is it. The wisdom of simplicity, right? The wisdom,
Absolutely.
the wisdom of simplicity. That's perfect. That's perfect. That's part of my journey is just
Yeah.
connecting and watching all of that melt away, right?
Yes.
Reconnect fully, bringing me back online. That's awesome.
I
Awesome.
wanted to say, because, I'm thinking your background in personal trainer and then you worked on the bikes, like you have huge wisdom about the human body too.
I do,
That's
and
something that you
I've
deep.
studied. Yeah,
Yeah. Like
I've
you know the
studied.
human body too.
I do. I've studied the like following the guidance, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
cause I haven't had formal teachers. I haven't had formal teachers, but I'll say the people, the teachers have appeared when I was ready, right? In the
Exactly.
form of friends and whoever else showed up. But they would just
Books.
kind of, yeah, the books. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
They would just kind of open the door to some
Yes.
other avenue that I needed to explore. And
Yeah.
one of those has been the human body anatomy. You need to buy an anatomy book. I need
Absolutely.
an anatomy book. Why do I need an anatomy book? I don't need an anatomy book. No, buy an anatomy book and go sit down and read it. I kid you not. I bought the book. I'm in the truck. My husband's driving back home. And as I'm reading, I'm like, oh my God. Like it starts with the brain. Oh my God. This is what I already know. This is just a different perspective. Oh my God. It's all one thing.
Yeah,
Like you start really connecting the dots. So it doesn't matter.
exactly.
This is what I was saying. It doesn't matter what subject you study, it doesn't matter what discipline you explore.
Yeah.
It's all one thing. All of these
So,
disparate things are perspectives of the single truth.
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. But
It
having
really is.
study all these avenues, it gives you that full spectrum view of a single thing, right? Yeah.
Exactly. I
Yeah.
told my husband, I actually made my husband, so I still have all my anatomy books. And
Yeah.
my son, the first time I saw my son grab that book and start to like flip through it and learn it, what is this? I was so happy. I was
Wow.
totally nerding with him. But my husband, so I met my husband in acupuncture school. And, like they do a little bit of the anatomy, but it's not as deep as if you were doing like pre-med or actually med school like that deep. And
Yeah.
so I was like, you're gonna take a cadaver class. You're gonna do it. And so I made him take a class. Actually, we went to the med school here. They had a
Yeah.
program where you can actually come in and, work on a cadaver. And I took him there. We did it together, and I was
Yeah.
nerding, and I was shocked. Like because he was able to see like the acupuncture points, but now understand it. Like, okay, this is the point here. Look at what is underneath it. Look at what
Yeah.
sits under. Like, there's a physical, like nerve bundle, or
Yeah.
like it makes sense now. So it's not just all this etheric stuff. And it made me
Right.
so happy that he did that because now, again, he understands the human body in reality, not just mind. It's like I see it. I've touched the nerves. I've traced it where it starts, where it ends, where it goes. I get that, and I
Yeah.
that's something that I was like, I don't care what my son chooses to do. Like
Yeah.
these are gonna be some of the foundations that I want him to learn.
Mm.
Taking a human anatomy class, doing a cadaver class, it's gonna teach him about his body in a way
Mm.
that's gonna help him so much, so that
Mm-hmm.
when he's showing up, he's like, yeah, this is my body, and I know what the heart is doing when I'm getting palpitations. I understand what is going on. Like I want him to have that wisdom, you
Yeah.
know. I think that's one of the things I wish everybody would take
Yeah.
anatomy and physiology and even the cadaver class. I know the cadaver class they wait till you're in the program. Like those who are on the path of medicine, that's who they open that class to. But I
Yeah.
think nowadays the most of the medical schools will have something where they allow students to come in to have that experience if they want, like pre-med days
Interesting.
or
Yeah.
yeah. So, but if you can, it is. I know there's the fear of, oh my gosh, it's a cadaver, it's a dead person.
Yeah.
It's different. That's one thing. I remember my group got our first cadaver, and just before the cadavers come out, they, talk to us and kind of warm us up and, some of the things that we might feel. And I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know how this is going to feel. Like, this is going to be weird. And the moment they brought the cadaver and put it in front of us, I was like, this is not human because
Mm.
the spirit is not in there anymore. It felt like an empty shell. It is
Yeah.
a completely different, like I can't even, you will have to experience it to know what I'm talking about. The
Yeah.
moment the spirit leaves this vessel,
Yeah.
it feels different.
Yeah.
Like you look at it and like, this is a shell.
Yes.
That this, yeah, it's the craziest experience ever. You're like the human spirit truly makes this something.
Yeah.
Without the spirit, it's just a shell. You truly
Yeah.
understand that. that why we call it a shell.
Yeah.
It really
It's
becomes that shell. Yeah.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
That's
It's
yeah.
fascinating.
It is. It is. And I've had that experience with both of my grandparents. Well, all of my grandparents when they passed, and I would walk by the casket and I'm like, well, that's not them.
It's not them. Exactly.
That's
You
not
can
that's
tell.
not
Yeah.
them.
It's
That's
so
that
weird.
yeah. Yeah.
You know, when
Yeah.
my grandmother crossed over last year, and she was back home, so my mom went back home and they brought pictures and videos, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, yeah,
Hmm.
that's just a shell. That's
Hmm.
not her. Like you
Yeah.
can tell the difference. It's something. You feel it. Like
Yeah.
you don't get that connection anymore because that the thing that you could connect to is not there anymore.
Right. Yeah.
It's the most fascinating experience. It was still gross. I couldn't eat meat for a while after working on it because ours was like fresh and it was all
Yeah.
juicy, and so yeah, my entire group, we could not eat meat for, I mean, my one of my group members literally ran out to go throw up. It was
Yeah.
so hard for her, but and I couldn't eat meat for months after that.
Wow.
But it becomes just a shell, and then I feel like I'm glad that we are able to study that because it really brings helps you appreciate how hard
Mm-hmm.
your body works in order
Mm-hmm.
for you to get up and have a cup of coffee or tea, or to
Mm-hmm.
smile at someone, or to actually look at someone, or to listen to someone, what the body needs to do in order for you to even take a simple breath.
Right.
It just, yeah, once you understand
Yeah.
that, you're going to treat your body differently. Yeah.
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 That's fantastic. That's fantastic.
Thank you for
That
letting me nerd.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a total nerd. Like you should you should see my house. It's full
Yes.
of books. It's full
Yes.
of books.
I'm
There
with
are books
you.
everywhere. There are books everywhere on all types of random
Yep.
stuff, right? All types of random stuff. But you're saying
Oh.
that, and I'm equating it to electrical components,
Yes.
like I write. I'm a software engineer by trade. I was that for almost 20 years.
Yes.
But I'm seeing all of that and how you see the pieces, you see the components that construct the whole, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of what it's all about is understanding how the components work together, how flow
Yeah.
works, divine flow.
I I have this thing. It's like if you know how to program a computer or a
Yeah.
software, if you know that, you will be able to you have the wisdom to do the same thing with the human mind, and even
Yes.
deeper, like because
Yes.
it's the same, like it just on different levels. So once you understand one, you can bring, yeah, like that's how I see programmers. I'm like, oh, you can do more. Like if you want to,
Yes.
you can dig in
Hey.
deep and do more and help humanity's mind get better and higher. Yeah.
This this is absolutely it. Because I ask myself all the time, why did I go that route?
Yes.
Why would I have gone that route? Why did I get a degree in mathematics? I hated numbers at the time. Why did I even need that? Right? Why did I do all of these things? And now
Yes.
from this point, I see how all these things fit together to lend themselves toward what I'm creating now, what I'm
Exactly.
building now, because I'm pulling from all these different things I've learned along the way to
Exactly.
construct what it is that what the legacy, ultimately, the legacy that I'll leave here
Yes.
when I'm gone. So
Yeah.
it's fascinating the way that
It
all,
really is.
yeah,
Like, I hope the listeners, as you're listening to us talk about our backgrounds and how it didn't make sense why we chose those trajectories.
right.
But then now looking at what we're doing, even though it's so different from what we chose or what we thought we are going to become, how it all makes sense. I hope that by listening to that, you begin to appreciate the journey that you're on. It might not, it never makes sense from the beginning. But when
Yeah.
you get to where you need to be and you're able to pull that in, you'll be like, oh, Yeah, I'm glad I did that archaeology, even
Yeah,
though I'm doing
right.
spiritual work right now. Like I'm glad that I chose that. Like it really teaches us to be more, not more appreciative, but to just be, I don't know what word to.
I'm going to say present.
Yes, thank you.
Yes,
Yes.
present.
With
Yes,
our journey and that it all
yes,
makes sense. It all
yes,
there's a reason why you chose that weird major and weird journey. Like it all makes sense. At that moment it doesn't, but trust me, it all comes together to make something. There's a wholeness that you'll get into and it's all part of that.
yes. That's
And
absolutely it.
maybe if we
Yeah,
think of it that way, we can have grace for ourselves more as we walk on our paths and
yeah.
not beat ourselves up for what we thought were mistakes in the past, but rather things that helped us get to where we are right now.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's a whole word. That's a whole word. Surrendering to the moment, surrendering to presence,
Yeah.
trusting that what is necessary will meet me as
Yeah.
I bring all of me fully to the present moment.
Yeah.
That's a gift in itself. That's the gift you give to yourself
Yes.
ultimately, right? Because
Yeah.
you're not trying to figure it out. You're not holding things away through your expectations
Yeah.
or anything that you regret, or any worries that you might be carrying. You let all that go and you are fully liberated within the now. That's a beautiful thing.
It really is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just take all of these words in and just
Yeah.
everyone let it just percolate. You don't need to like understand it. We're, like both of us work very energetically. There's so much more happening beyond our words, and
Yeah.
just open
Yeah.
up to receive it. It doesn't need to make sense, but the fact that you've been drawn to this interview says it all. You needed to hear
Yeah.
something. Your being will take what it needs to help you to open up whatever needs to open up. So I'm glad you're here. And just
Yes.
understand that you are human first. You came here to be human. We're going back to that. You came here to be human. Have grace, immense grace for yourself, for your
Yeah.
journey. If you think you make a mistake and you're hard on yourself, please take that time to be like, yeah, I messed up, but I still love me. Please do that.
Yeah.
Because there's so much that we don't understand, but it all makes sense at some point. Have grace. Let grace be your guiding light. Let grace be that North Star. Just have a lot of grace for yourself as you walk on this journey as a human being. One of the toughest assignments ever.
Right.
Seriously. One of the toughest
That
assignments ever.
is. Oh, that is. It is. It is. It's tough. It is tough. It is tough. But
We could have
it's
been chilling out on like a different planet that and just chilling, that doesn't have feelings or any dense energies and just being and laughing all day and eating good food and good people around us. And we chose to come here to learn I'm telling you, I think anyone who chose to be human in this lifetime, they're master souls. I
oh
really truly
yeah.
believe that to be
Yeah.
human is to be a master. Because what you
Mm.
go through, not all beings go through this earth school.
Yeah.
Actually, most beings are like, not touching that. And you're like, I got this. And then you get here, like, why did I get this? I'm telling you, I think all human beings are master souls because that's what it does. It creates masters of the
Yeah.
universe.
How do you think it creates masters? Like what's that process?
What is coming through, or what I'm seeing right now, and also getting, it has a way of bringing you down, like dropping you to your lowest so you can learn from the dark. And then from the dark, rising back up to the light so you can appreciate the light. And then from the light, drop into the in between and finding your balance. That makes
Mm.
sense. It's
It
the ability
does.
to drop to the lowest, densest experience, navigating that, finding the light coming up. You're like, oh, for example, maybe your most of your life you experience like sadness. You like sadness is your thing. For me, grief and sadness has been it. Like that's my lowest. I get it. But at the same time, in that, my gift is that I have this joy within myself that it doesn't matter what life is doing, it's always there. It's like this sunlight that never goes out. You know, I remember like some of my lowest point in life, that's when people come to me like, oh my gosh, you are amazing. I love being around you. Your life is perfect. You're doing like, you feel so good. You're smiling all the time. And I'm looking at them like, I feel dead inside. So, how
Mm,
is it that you're feeling this warmth from me when I am freezing?
mm,
How is that? That's the gift from that my lowest point. That's the we all have the dark has a gift in there, has the light in there. And so understanding whether, mine is that sadness and grief, which is ancestral, it goes way down the line that I've been working on so many times. In that comes that eternal joy that is also part of it. And until
yes.
you look at this, how you can never get to the core of that.
Yeah.
Until, if I didn't take the time to understand, why do I have this grief? Why do I feel so sad even though nothing made me sad? Why do I feel so alienated when there's so much love around me? If I didn't bring the awareness there,
Hmm.
how would I have noticed that regardless of my outside circumstances, joy just pours out of me, regardless? Oh, right. That's one of my gifts. So I can just relax. I can just be. It is okay for me to be sad. It is
Yeah.
okay for me to not be, to have hard days because
Yeah.
either way, I still pour out joy. And I just
Yes.
need to remind myself to pour myself a glass of that when I forget, right?
Yes. I think that's a beautiful articulation of consciousness becoming conscious of itself. Yes. Awareness. Mm.
Huge.
Descending into density to become aware, such that the creation might discover what it can become, all that it can become, right? How beautiful. How beautiful. What a lovely conversation. We've just been going.
We knew this was going to happen.
Surrender to the now, right?
Yes.
No script. Surrender to the now. How beautiful. This is beautiful. Thank you so much, Abigail, for
It's my pleasure.
sharing a bit of you with us in this space. This has been an awesome conversation. I'm so appreciative to you. Wow.
Thank
Awesome
you for
conversation.
inviting me and
Yes.
creating such a beautiful space for me to truly show up as me. Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Do you have anything that you want to share? Anything coming up? I think this is going to go out at the beginning of December. So anything that you have coming up that you want to share?
So at the end of each year, I do something called the closing ceremony where I just bring people together in ceremony and we review the journey through the year. We release what is ready to go, and then we step into the new energy of the new year. And we
Mm,
do this in a ritual way. And it's just a beautiful way to come together to close one chapter and then get ready for a new chapter. So that's happening December 30th. So
okay.
find me on social media or I can send the info to you
Yeah.
while
You
it's
can
done.
send
And
it to
then,
me.
yeah, but it's called Ignite. And each year is like each year's date. So this one will be Ignite 2026 because it's going to
Yeah.
ignite the next year. But yeah, that's what's coming up. And the channeled messages have grace for yourself. It's
Yeah.
okay. We're here to make mistakes and learn from it. We're here to fall so that we can learn to rise up. We're here to feel the dance so that we can appreciate the light. Like it's all part of the journey. But
Yeah.
you get to choose the quality of that journey. You get to
Yeah.
make that choice of how this journey gets to be for you. You have that power.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll leave it there. Simple, short.
Nice. Oh, nice. Beautiful, 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 beautiful. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. Hear us. Our presence carries with it the emanation of divine light, the omnipotent, omniscient omnipresence, which, of the very nature of its being, sustains all life as life itself. Of this, know, our presence is not without cause, our presence not without purpose, for our being wills to light the way of highest realization for the whole. Our light is our being. As divine presence, we are here as the eternal light and life which colors our world. Open on all levels, across all planes, through all dimensions. Divine light is without fear. Divine light is without prejudice. Divine light, of which we live and breathe, is our being. Grant yourself permission to know. We of the All are the omnipotent, omnipresent, omniscient divine force as unique expressions of love. We of the All are eternal liberation for all that binds. And we of the All are not veiled. Know us. Know thyself.